Sam, most of you will have heard Sam over the past 12 months saying, if you follow the money, you'll find the problem. So what I've done with Sam and some others is start to follow the money. So what I've got up there on screen now, and this is, you know, obviously you can follow the money on all the different companies and we'd be here all night. So this is for the Rugby Wind Farm proposal, Suzlon. Suzlon's share price. 9th of January 2008, they enjoyed a $460 per share price. March 09, that dropped to $33.30. March 10, $75. March 11, $46. January 2012, they bottomed out at $17.25 per share. Now these are the people that some hosts are talking about 25-year or potentially 75-year agreements with. Great business partners. And to be fair, we closed out on the 18th of May where they jumped up from $17 to $19.65. So they're on the upward trend, although they didn't close there today. Since 2008, just summarising the Suzlon share price, they've lost approximately 91% of their share value since 2008, and in the past calendar year, they've fallen by approximately 62%. A great investment. This is clause 10.3 in the Rugby Wind Farm lease agreement. Now, I don't expect you to read the whole lot, but we can get copies to you if you are that way inclined. But what I want to point out in this slide is that hidden within the agreement is a statement. The landlord and the tenant will use their best endeavours to agree a substitute measure of gross revenue, taking into account the project specifications, including but not limited to the wind speed, energy production, generation, then current market conditions. Now this is in relation to if the owner, Suzlon Repower, wishes to sell the development to maybe another Suzlon Repower 1.234 legal entity. Now what does that really mean? Well, that means that if the renewable energy certificate was abandoned, if government subsidies were removed, the lease payments to the hosts can be renegotiated. Well, either way, but I think we all know which direction the proponent will wish to take that, being the tenant. Now, if you want to dispute that as the landlord, the host, well, you'll need to find someone with at least 5 years' experience in wind farm development that the tenant, Suzlon, agrees to. So if you know any hosts, if you are a potential host, just read the contract. Get someone that actually has a clue to read the contract. Again, this is Suzlon, wonderful business partners. But it doesn't stop there. Suzlon is in what many may call a debt crisis. They owe in excess of $500 million, which must be paid by October 2012. The quote from Climate Spectator, not generally a supporter, prospects in the short term for the renewable energy sector look not so rosy. Shock horror. As they depend largely on spending by European governments. And shock horror, they're under stress. So unless the European governments find the $500 million to loan to the Indian Suzlon, they're up the proverbial ditch without a paddle. What about your 75-year lease agreement and your promises of free cash? The average wholesale power price, and we're being generous, we rounded it up significantly, it's floated between $17 and $40 per megawatt, so we'll give them $40. A 3 megawatt turbine will generate approximately $324,000 per annum. Sounds pretty good. 52 turbines. Sounds like good money. The Rugby Wind Farm, or wind development, is a $350+ million project. Revenue without subsidies, so let's hope the renewable energy certificate scheme is removed. They'll get about $16.8 million per annum. Good money. That's a 20.8-year payback before they break even, and that's without ongoing maintenance or interest payments. Can I encourage anyone to invest? Can I encourage anyone to partner up and get into bed with these fellows for 25 years? 75. To 75 years. So this is what we're dealing with, and it drives me insane when you see newspaper articles saying we're going to inject X amount of $1 million into the community. They need to pay back over $500 million before October this year. Where's our $3 million per year coming from?
What's the subsidy worth?
The subsidy is, Sam, you're closer on that one.
The subsidy with CO2, with a $23 carbon tax put on black power, and that'll raise electricity prices, could get up alone on a 3 megawatt turbine up to about $1 million a year.
So with subsidies, they are viable.
That's without electricity. Then you've got electricity to sell on that.
But as we've seen with all countries around the world, which is part of the problem for their $500 million, the subsidies dry up. Governments run out of money. They can no longer support them. Businesses at some stage have to stand on their own 2 feet. And with these raw numbers, wind turbines don't stand on their own 2 feet or their 80 tonne of concrete. Okay, they will tumble down. And again, who will be left with it? As Peter was suggesting, the community. The hosts, they'll go broke. They can't afford to bring them down at an estimated $200,000 per turbine. So the taxpayer will probably have to pay for it. Or they'll just rust away in the paddocks. So one thing that has jumped out at me tonight, and we talked about it at the third, I think it was the second meeting actually, which we held here, was community. And what the communities are actually built on in rural Australia and in the cities is communication, mateship, and a fair go for all. So just keep talking to your communities, keep talking to your neighbours, talk to the hosts. I mean, they, for whatever reason, have made a, excuse my French, piss poor decision. And we owe it to them to remind them of that. Because they are a part of our community, and at the end of the day, we'll be the ones there trying to pick them up when it all falls down. So there's nothing stronger than community, so keep talking. And that's just the Rugby Wind Farm. Our friends, Wind Prospect, Epuron, they're just bigger projects with bigger numbers, with bigger payback periods, with bigger risk. Thanks.